But he limited to agents only.
Well, that's fine, but that's who you wanted to come really, because you needed their opinion. But they didn't come because they're not interested. You're not gonna sell it.
Yeah. But they got to see it, and the biggest selling point is a part that we can't show.
The best part of the house.
What do you mean your part you can't show?
He's
The
got
best part
enrolled
of the house.
he's got a he's got a 1,600 square foot workspace.
One in works every
car,
2 years,
garage, like whatever.
Mhm.
But it's
Potentially
stacked floor to
9
ceiling
or
with
10.
crap.
It has
We
a
can't
full-on
show.
bathroom. It has a hoist that you can use to move engines around or other heavy stuff. I mean, the possibilities to do business back there. And then it has a nice, easy walk-in entrance to a lower level that could be converted from the gym right now into an office real easy with the putting of a desk in. I mean, that's how quick it is to convert into these. The other side, out there has like it's kind of like it's outfitted for a small kitchenette. So you can do an in-law suite if you wanted to, or you can tap it as your company's break room, you know what I mean? You can have coffee and stuff for your clients.
Perfect.
That whole workspace in the back is magnificent. When you go like an open beam, you can even do events back there. You can do a B&B in the house, and you can do small weddings back there. So the best part, it's a weird house, the way
in
it's
bed at ignite.
No, but
stacked, the way it's
Cover
stacked.
so much.
It's very specific
They were
size,
there,
you know?
It almost takes several days.
But for the right
to try to
person that's gonna utilize that space, it's a
Yeah.
dream come true, but you can't show that. That is the space that you come in, it's a gorgeous entry, it's a last place on the block, you open up the space gate.
It's a long driveway.
I said, yes, at least like the pictures of this, I say, listen, there's a lot of valuables, there's a lot of this is what it looks like, this is where the bathroom is, this is the blueprint, and this, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So, okay,
no.
I'll look at
He
wasn't there, we
was
can
the,
He was in the back.
Right.
He was in the RV.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What you, gather before you try to sit down and write it, and the world yours, you know, and.
Huh?
How long did you list it? How long did you list it?
How you.
Sí, ellos graban.
Relationship with co-op agent.
No, tranquilo, no saben, yo ahora voy a ir a
90 days, I think I have a 90-day contract.
So,
estoy en la clase.
is there any reason?
3 months, 90 days.
Rejected anything?
No. Yes, like, September. If it's gonna go, it's gonna go. I just can't keep spending money on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Anything that's free, I'll do. And
And,
if
yeah,
he
we
gets
can,
the stuff out like he says he's gonna get some of it.
We could throw a massive party in that,
I mean, they may
in
ask
that
you some
shed.
questions like,
It would be beautiful.
what
You pull up
does,
this
what do you
long
put here?
driveway,
You know,
goes
from
around the
contract.
back, it's a real nice spot.
He's just so, he should be priced about 3 years. It should be priced about.
No.
It's not gonna get any attention.
Yeah, nobody was. That's why nobody bothered to come, because we're not on the website showing it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens over the next few days. If it doesn't, let's change it to what I say.
If you want. I did that early on, when I knew it was gonna price when I took the list.
Get it from Diane.
Because he doesn't make money.
Hopefully when he listens to his video, because you know he's gonna listen to that video, he'll hear us talking.
Yeah.
And that's why he got his consent too, so he could watch the cameras. Because he did not like his little girls walking up. He was, he goes, yeah, I thought some people came in. I said, yes, but I didn't actually
Well,
let
there's
them
actually
in.
7 more just
Until
stepped
Miss
out.
Gladys looked around. Which Miss Gladys is my first call today.
I'm so proud of those in the room. And Veronica's here. She
Right on
just
time, good morning.
so
Right on
proud.
time.
So who is it that
Ma'am.
says, if you're
You're not
10 minutes early, you're on time, if you're on time, you're late,
And if you're late, you're fired.
you're late, you're fired. Well, Horst Schulte said he closed the door on meetings, if it's 10 o'clock meeting, close the door.
¿Tú pusiste el dinero?
So
Okay.
if I said 10:01, I would have said 10:01, the meeting is 10. I mean,
Who's
that's
this?
Horace
Schultz.
Schultze, who started the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh, yeah, that book, he spoke.
He spoke to us,
He
yeah.
spoke to us during the pandemic.
Yes, yeah, we had a Zoom call with him.
Yeah.
And he also has done the ALC retreats and the Rawls group.
He was real good,
He's amazing.
yeah.
Do you wanna find out who these
Yes,
folks
because
are, or did you want me to introduce them? Like,
I would make them introduce themselves and tell me about themselves.
perfect.
So you've probably been doing this with every instructor. He's probably like, I'm sick of talking about myself. But it's a relationship-based business, so if I don't know you, then I don't know you. So it's a good idea to try to know each other or know, who the people are. So I may not remember every single name because I have a brain that one goes in and two go out. And it's been that way for some time, so you'll have to forgive me. So you may have to say your name like 4 or 5 times. Once I get your name, then we're good, and I can do it. I can do this, But until I really get it cemented, doesn't hurt to tell me again. So I'd like to know you by name. So you tell me your name first.
My name is Sahai Messiah.
Now, so you have to spell it. All right. See, this is going to be my cheat sheet because I was like, okay, I will
I'll
remember.
do because I'm like, should I tell you the way that's actually spelled or the phonetic, just how you pronounce it?
No, I actually am good with foreign languages. Once I can understand a lot, but I have to, yes. Let me spell. Tell me the real way.
T-S-E-H-A-I.
And you pronounce it.
Sahai, the T is silent.
That's a hi. Yeah. So where are you from?
I'm from Atlanta, but that's an Amharic name.
Okay. So, well, my husband is Spanish, so this is why I've always liked all cultures. I like the accents. My assistant would always just hand me the phone when someone would call with a thick accent. And she would just go, I don't understand them. I'm like, I can get this. And usually what I do as a trick is I don't understand them, but I just kind of catch words as they go through their speaking, and I can kind of put it together. So it's because I listen. So I'm a good listener, I'm not a good rememberer. So how long have you been in real estate?
I got my license at the end of February.
Awesome. Have you done any deals yet?
Rental deals.
Okay. But you got a contract?
Yes.
All right, good. So just practice.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Tell me your name, please.
Althea.
Althea. I have
A-L-T-H-E-A.
I have an Althea Jordan that was an agent with me at Buckhead Brokers many, many years ago. So Althea, how long have you been in the business?
The end of May is when I got my license.
Nice.
And I have a listing and a buyer. I have my buyer consultation tomorrow.
Neat. Very good. So you're doing the doing.
I'm trying to do it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Alan
Alan?
Smyrn,
A-L-L-E-N or A-L-A-N?
A-L-A-N.
A-L-A-N.
And
How long have you been in business?
it'll be 2 years September.
I know I've seen you.
Yeah, yeah. Have business on pause a few times besides COVID. It's family stuff. My wife had some back surgery.
Oh,
She's had 2 surgeries since.
oh, ouch.
Take care of your back, everyone.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we gotta do some exercises right now.
Take care of your back.
So you've been in the business for 2 years?
Be 2 years September.
Good, so you've done some deals.
I've done mostly rentals, but I'm working with a buyer now.
Good, well, we
And,
want real deals, so this.
Yeah, then I'm hoping I'll know something about a listing Saturday.
Very good, very good. Well, we would be happy for that. We want to.
Repeat offender of Ignite.
Well, you need, you learn something every day. I'm a repeat offender for every class that's out there. So we fail our way forward. We don't know everything, and so I don't claim to know everything. I stay in training, I stay in curiosity, and then I pretend I know some stuff. So,
So now that all family crises are somewhat under control.
yes.
And reigniting.
Reignite, I like that. He's reigniting. This is a good thing. I'm going to reignite because I'm teaching you, so I'm going to learn things that I don't normally have to say or think about. So you learn when you teach. So tell me your name.
Edgar.
Andrew?
Edgar.
Oh, Edgar.
Yeah.
E-D-G-A-R?
Yes.
This is my cheat sheet. And how long have you been in the business?
1 month.
Awesome. Have you had any deals yet or any?
Not yet.
Okay, but any leads?
Leads yet.
All right, cool. We're going to convert those. Get them into business.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Victoria.
Victoria, okay.
So-
I love that too.
I've had my real estate license since the 17th of this month.
Oh gosh. So that was like 2 minutes in.
Yeah. And Stacy allowed me to come midstream and come into this class, and everyone in the class is kind of welcome me in the class. So try to come as much as I can
Welcome.
before I ignite in August.
Okay, so you're gonna take Ignite in August?
Yes.
Full.
Yeah, like formally.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have any deals, but I was able to convince a for sale by owner to let me go to his house tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah, so
Get your foot in the
hopefully,
door. It's all about building relationships.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even if he doesn't want to, you know, maybe I'll see a buyer on the way out. I never know. You never know.
Just
So
offer him your help.
Yeah.
And you don't have to tell him you're new.
That's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of someone saying like, why would I want to work with you? Like, you don't know what you're doing.
You say because I am in a partnership with 280 agents that I network with in my office and are supporting me. And I can go to any question that I may not have, but believe me, I'm passionate about the selling of your home because, you know, I will be able to help you and then you would help me.
Cool.
So, you know, people like to help. So sometimes if you go door knocking and you're asking for help, it can get you a lot more than if you just try to sell yourself.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah, I
help.
didn't try to say like, I want your list. I was like, oh, you know, if I
I'm
just,
coming
if
from
you have
contribution.
buyers, yeah. You
Well, that's
know,
a buyer that, and you do have a buyer that might be interested.
yeah, one of my friends might have a buyer's looking for this property. So
I mean,
yeah,
I have a
it's
buyer
not.
that might be interested. I don't know who that buyer is yet, but they might be interested.
So that's how I kind of said, I said, let's go take a look
It's a
at
true
it.
statement.
Yeah. He was really receptive. He was like, come, and then I couldn't come that minute, right out the gate. He was like, come today.
Yeah.
And then I was all the way in Elderville, and this is in Jasper, so I was like,
Oh,
no
yeah.
way.
And
And then,
so I'd love to make an appointment with you.
That's what it was. I
I have
said, you know,
appointments today. You're very busy. You guys are very busy and who do they want to work with?
The busy people.
Somebody who's
Mhm.
busy, right? Tell me your name, please.
Hi, sorry, I'm a little under the weather too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
That's
have like my little kid over here. But, my name is Marielle,
How do I spell it?
Mariel.
Oh, Marielle, that's easy. And how long have you been licensed?
I got licensed in 2018, so I guess coming up on 2 years.
Right, have you had any transactions, any deals?
No, last year, I was still working a full-time job.
Oh, yes.
So, and then COVID hit, so.
That makes a difference when you work
Yeah.
full-time. It's really difficult to
Right.
get your foot going, you know, it's just get momentum.
Right,
It's hard
so-
because you gotta do the lead gen. and
Right.
so are you still working?
Well, I have a part-time job, but I'm not working the full-time job anymore.
Good. So now you can devote
Yeah,
a certain amount of time to real estate.
right.
That's perfect.
Dolores, Dolores.
I know, Dolores. How long have you been licensed?
45 years.
Yes. And
But
what brings you to Ignite?
because I've been in and out of the business, and since I came here, my mom was taking care of my mom,
Oh, yeah.
and she made her transition. So now I'm like, okay, now I can do this, because when I had her, I couldn't do
Right,
it.
you can't focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the same, you know, to Alan's point, you deal with family, you gotta deal with family, you know. Well, I'm glad you're back to in the game now,
Yeah.
being in the game.
Hi,
What's your name?
Jaima.
Okay, now I gotta spell it.
Y-A-I, M as in Mary,
But you pronounce it
Jaima.
like with the
Like
J?
a J.
Ah, Jaima. I'm put a little J here, sorry.
In Spanish, the J sounds.
Are you Spanish?
Yes.
Oh, okay, my husband is Spanish. My name is Cynthia de Sevilla Pierce. And
Oh,
I
it's from
don't-
Spain?
From Spain, de
Oh.
Sevilla. So, and it's the small D-E and then Sevilla. Pierce is his mother, who is English. So I just take the Pierce part because I'm English, so. And when I do de Sevilla Pierce, people think I speak Spanish, which is a really big problem because I don't. And, so at any rate, yes, Spanish. So how long have you been in the business?
Since March.
Okay, have you had any deals?
Yes.
Good.
My first closing is this Tuesday.
It'll be fantastic, so.
I'm gonna have a couple of shots.
After.
After the closing, I'll be like, ah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, it's just, it's
Okay.
My name is Veronica Franco. And I started here at Keller Williams at the end of May, early June.
May, June, and have you had any deals, Veronica? But you got leads, right? Awesome, awesome, and we've talked and we're gonna keep talking, because she has other talents that are in, relative to branding and promoting yourself and doing videos and those kinds of things, which is what I'm into at this point. So we've got lots, oh, there we got one more, yay. Come in. You're just in time to be introduced. Could you tell me your name?
Yes, my name is Jason. Good morning, everybody. Jason Johnson.
Jason, good morning. And how long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business since April.
April.
I got my license at the beginning of January, the beginning of the year.
And then
started officially with Keller Williams.
Awesome. Have you had any deals yet?
Rentals.
Okay, good, because rentals are still contracts.
Yes.
So, go ahead, get yourself situated. I was just introducing everybody.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, did everybody sign in? No. Okay, we need to pass that around to get credits. So, well, let me tell you really briefly about myself. Some of you may know me or have heard ridiculous rumors, and they're all unfounded. But I have 36 years in the business. I started in 1985, so I was 12. So it doesn't, we had no child labor laws back in those days. So clearly I could not be old enough to be as old as I am. So I have a long career. I have been fortunate to have a successful career. I tell my husband that I'm successful just because I've been here forever. And he says, my husband is my biggest wings behind me. So he tells me every day what a good job I'm doing. And he says, no, not everybody who has been in the business for a long time is successful. And I thought about it, and he's absolutely right. Just because you have tenure doesn't guarantee success. It does help, though, because you've built up a lot of credibility and plus I've been in the game seriously every year. I mean, except for a couple of years with, maybe my mom, just a couple things that maybe were at that time setback. But generally my career has been pretty good, and I like it, and I still like real estate. And in fact, I've now been licensed in Florida. So I've decided to expand, and I will work in Florida as much as I can and stay in Atlanta. So I'm going to divide myself, and it gives me a lot of momentum, a lot of challenge, a lot of, okay, I'm going to guess what I have to do. I have to go out and be what you guys are being. I know nobody. I have no sphere. I have no credibility, and I basically am starting from ground zero. But I'm pretty sure I'll ramp up. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to ramp up because I'm reaching out, making connections, reaching out and talking to people and forming relationships. I believe this is a relationship business. That's my business. There are other types of ways to do real estate where you just do cold leads and, you can just blow and go through Zillow leads or whatever. I don't want to promote Zillow at all, but there are different kinds of businesses. Mine's been a relationship-based business. I have a 99% referral business. So that's good and bad because I don't get new leads, like leads from the world versus, leads from my sphere. So I pour into my sphere a lot. And in fact, today we have a 4th of July pie promotion, and we'll be in the limo drop. People are going to drive through, and we've got little mini pies, red, white, and blue. We have blueberry, cherry, and apple, and goodies for the kids. So we do client appreciation events and that sort of thing to continue to give value to my database and to touch them. So today, yes.
How much are you spending on those pie overall? Something like that, $2 a pie, $5 a pie?
They were $4 per pie.
Okay.
Times 3, times I have about 20 people coming through. So that was kind of, plus my staff to run and buy everything. I have a small team, a marketing director, operations director, contract to close, and showing assistants. So at this point, kind of like a small team.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Listen, what I thought I would do is get you through the material, which is very interesting. And at this time in real estate, the way I have to show you on your contracts is particular to the market that we are in. When the market changes, you will want to refresh your strategies on how you're going to present offers and what you can do for your buyer or your seller. Right now, the market is so on fire that we can't put in a lot of stipulations. We can't put in, give us a warranty, give us a termite bond, you know, all these types of things, because guess what? If you're in a multiple offer situation and you've got stipulations in there, you're dead in the water. So this class is about making and receiving offers for your buyers or your sellers. Did everybody get a copy of a purchase and sale agreement? I'm not gonna do the entire like lawyer purchase and sale, but we are gonna hit a few points on how to fill it out and what the blanks mean. So who's not reviewed a purchase and sale yet? Okay, well, that's fine. I mean, I don't expect y'all to do this nighttime reading, but I mean, it is good to read it. And then you probably have a contracts class with Renee Dillon, our affiliated attorney.
We did one.
You did it already?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, we did the closing.
Oh, that was closing, sorry.
Mock closing, got it.
Mock closing.
You did the
You're
mock
right.
closing, right. Well, there's.
Sorry, I was at the Braves game last night.
Well, what you'll do is you'll have the attorney go through the entire legal part of this contract, and that's very important. Like, one of the first things I want to do in Florida, so I'm going to equate Florida to me being a brand new agent. So in Florida, when I go down there, I'm going to ask to say, when is your next contracts class? Because I need to know what's in the Florida contract versus the Georgia contract. And I've seen contracts from other states, and they are all weird. Ours is the best. And it's just a contract that's been developed by attorneys, real estate attorneys, so it is very, very good contract. Pre-printed material. So let me move on. Y'all, did everyone do their homework? I don't know what your homework was, but did you do
Supposed to
it?
review this.
Good, because it says, did anybody have any ahas from your previous homework? Anything? Anything need to be contributed? It just says on here you have homework. So. And are you happy to be in Ignite? Is everybody pretty happy to do this? I think it's a powerful course. And you're having guest instructors, so I don't know if you like that or don't like that, but it is kind of like you get everybody's different points of view. And you know, I think that can be good to hear sometimes. So our goal today is to help you learn how to present offers and when you represent a buyer, and how to respond to offers when you represent a seller. We're going to start with the buyer side. How many of you think it's easier to get buyers than listings? How many think it's easier to get listings? I think listings are a little bit more of a challenge for new agents. In my mind, it's not that you can't get listings first, and you should definitely focus on and try to gain listing momentum, because that's what's going to sustain your business. But typically, it's more of an easier transaction to have a buyer, somebody that wants to buy a home. So you're probably going to be buyer heavy your first couple of years, and then after that, you would turn those buyers, you know, ask for leads for listings. Or, I mean, at any point, you're going to be asking for leads for listings, right? But if you're going in competition for a listing, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to win. And again, what I was saying earlier, you want to go in with, if they know you're new, you want to go in with, that's why I'm passionate about the success of this. I will give you my undivided attention, and you know, you will be the top of my mind every morning I wake up. You know, versus somebody you can go against an established realtor and say, well, she's got, you know, 22 listings and doesn't have time. You never slam the other person, but you're saying your strengths are that you're going to be devoted to them. But this is just to give you an idea of the steps and where to negotiate for your buyer. And again, because of the market we're in, we're going to have a little bit of, I will explain to you maybe the opposite of what we're doing right now. But because right now, you really have to, you're not negotiating price as much as you would in a normal market. The normal market, what would you do? You'd run your comparables, which you're going to do still, right? You're going to run all your comps, see what they're asking. But if it's a good house in good condition in basically a good area, it's going to have multiple offers. And so the list price is right now currently the floor. That's a starting point, like an auction. So if you consider that's the floor, the first conversation I would have with my buyer is, how much are you willing to pay for this home? At what point would you say, I did all I can do, I'm going to walk away, I will not feel bad if I don't win at that price, okay? That's a very important conversation to have. Most of the buyers and listings, buyers and sellers are not getting counter offers. You get a one shot. So your job is to determine if the particular home your buyer wants is going to go into a multiple offer situation. So the first thing you have to do is have a conversation with whom? Who would you talk to first?
Linda.
Good point. Who else? It's the listing agent. The listing agent is your first phone call.
I always call.
Well, first of all, you have your lender on your side already. You've had a rapport, a conversation. If your buyer comes to you and says, I'm going to go with ABC lender, and you don't know them, you need to get on the phone and get to know that lender and see, do they answer your calls? Are they available on Sunday night? I mean, I heard Matt Lip, our affiliated partner, saying that he will do a pre-call letter, and then time goes by because they didn't get a house, right? And then all of a sudden it's Sunday night on 9 o'clock, the agent calls and says, I need a pre-call letter for this, and I need to know your processing time, and I need you to call the other agent. So that's just kind of our world. So the emotions are very high, and this is in your course, is that you really need to understand the emotions. And one of the things I want to speak to you about is being a neutral third party. That is our role. The emotions of your buyer and seller, I don't even know where that is in here, but I know it says emotions running hot on both sides. There's excitement, joy, anxiety, impatience, etc. As a professional representative of your client, you must remain calm, reassuring, in control, and communicate everything to your client. If something is told to you, you need to tell it to your client, because guess what? What are we? We are fiduciaries. And that means that we are also facilitating everything, but we owe a fiduciary responsibility to our client. And that's part of your buyer brokerage agreement and part of your listing agreement. So you definitely want to convey everything. If someone says to you, which they probably shouldn't, but they sometimes do, well, my buyer will pay more. Well, you may have to tell your seller that if you're representing the seller. I would definitely counter if some agent tells me the buyer would pay more. I'm going to counter you, make you pay more. So it's also telling you your guides, buyer and seller, are inside your KW app and are a key player in keeping your clients up to date. So it can document your transaction. And we're not covering, it says we're not covering the negotiation of the contract, but I am kind of covering it a little bit now, because I think you need to hear some of what's going on right now. So one of the resources in preparing an offer is on your, prepare an offer here, is on your KW app, I think, let's see, the toolkit. You have a toolkit? You ready to have a toolkit? Sample included in page 3 of your participant guide. Do you see that? Does anybody have a toolkit, participant guide? Page 3?
Checklist to prepare an offer?
Yes, prepare, yeah, checklist to prepare an offer.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
It's in here, right?
What's in there? What does it say first?
Obtain the buyer's pre-approval letter from their lender.
Perfect. Did everybody hear that loud and clear? And I go one step.
Page 3.
Yeah, I go.
Unit 6.
Yeah.
Unit 6.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't have that guide, so you got it. But that'll be it. So to your point, call the lender. It not only have the letter, but if it's not Randy and Matt, you need or Paul, you need to call that lender. You need to have a conversation and be sure, have they verified assets, right? Have they pulled credit, right? Have they checked the employment? Find out everything about that they're allowed to tell you.
So if I have a cash buyer, which that's my thing tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Proof of funds. They must have what's called proof of funds. It's very important. And I tell my cash buyers to send me a copy of if they can have their banker send a letter saying that, Joe Smith has assets in excess of X, liquid assets. I mean, they're not going to have to sell all their stock and wait for a transaction, but liquid assets in the amount of X, and they're readily available to purchase property. Or you can take a screenshot of their bank account and then tell them they must black out the account numbers, right, before they send it to you. Don't want any personal bank account numbers coming through. and then you have to provide that with your offer, or within 2 days. If you don't have proof of funds and you're making cash offers, I think you're making a mistake. You need to have that proof of funds before you make the offer. And our contract allows you to say between X days after binding agreement that you'll send proof of funds. But
in this market,
experienced agents would just say, show me proof of funds before you bring me the, in conjunction with the offer. Okay, but great question. What else is on your to-dos to make an offer, your checklist?
Produce CMA.
Produce a CMA, which we just spoke about. Go ahead and do your CMA. You need to know if the people are crazy. If they're crazy, they may still get it, but you need to do what? Advise your buyer.
Of the crazy?
The crazy. Look, I can't come up with the comps, but this is a crazy market. If you love the house, what is it worth to you? And that's kind of what you have to do. You have to say, I can't justify this price. Do you see the same thing I see? And then maybe does everybody know how to do a CMA? No. You'll have a class on it, but you need to go in and there's different ways to approach it. And I usually approach doing a CMA in several different ways. Like I'll run first the neighborhood if it's a big enough neighborhood. If you're looking at Windward or you're looking at Horseshoe Bend or Ashford Chase, whatever, you can pull by neighborhood and see what the sales are. And I have been limiting the sales to the last 6 months because you can go back a year for an appraiser's guidelines can go back a year, but if the market changed in January, and I think 6 months is all I would go back to look at comps. And then if you don't get enough comps in the neighborhood, you could go to the elementary school district, because the elementary school district is a smaller sphere. If you still don't have enough comps, or if you want to see a broad picture, most of us go to the high school district. Because if I'm searching Lassiter High School or Pope High School, I'm going to see a difference between property values in Walton and property values in Sprayberry. Anybody tell me why?
Does it mean
Properties are more expensive.
Well, Sprayberry is not as desirable of a high school.
Exactly.
So
Roswell High School is like 8 out of 10.
yeah. So go to greatschools.org, look at your school ratings. Even if your client doesn't have children, can't stress it enough, check out the schools. Because why?
Person buying it might have children and want to.
In the
In the
future.
future, if they want to sell the
Resale.
house, most likely will be a
Right.
family with children, they will look at the other schools.
If it's a family neighborhood type thing.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that you're not gonna sell the house, it just means that you're doing what? You're informing your buyer. If here, please check this. This is not me, this is in greatschools.org or School Diggers or any of the websites. There's a Georgia website too, I don't remember the name. Anyway, so you're preparing the offer, right? But you're informing your client. So what's the next thing on the checklist?
Review tax record.
I'll pull the tax records on everyone, see what the history of the sales have been. Interestingly, in Florida, everything that we looked at was probably $200,000 more than it was 2 years ago. Wow. Oh yeah, it's brutal. So it's interesting to do that here, pull it up and see what it sold for and if it sold in the last couple of years, you're gonna see a dramatic increase in what they're asking. So, and it's just for information, you need to let them know, okay? What else is in there? Alan, you got a good.
Okay, ensure the property is still available.
Because that is the number 2 thing.
Yeah.
That's why you call the agent first, guys. It doesn't matter what's in FMLS. They could have gotten an offer the day before and signed it at 4 o'clock that day, and you're at 5 o'clock trying to write an offer, and your whole world is upside down because you're scrambling to get all this information, and you're pulling it all together, and you've worked so hard, and you're getting ready to sign it, and you're going to call that agent and say, I'm sending you an offer, and she's like, we sold it. So you've got to call the agent and have a conversation. And the strategy is you are calling that agent to find out what the seller needs. What does the seller need in this market, right? This is this market specifically, but I do it every time because it's a negotiation tool for you as a buyer's rep to find out what the seller needs and can your buyer accommodate some of that? Like right now, a lot of times they'll tell you, well, my seller wants to sell and stay in the property for 30 days. Well, great, I have a buyer who's in an apartment and they don't want to give up their lease for another 30 days or 60 days or what, or they can go month to month or whatever. They can give you that flexibility. That can cause your offer to rise to the top, right? So knowing what the seller needs is critical in your negotiation skills at this point. If they say, well, they're all about the money, okay? You need to say that conversation we just said to your buyer. What is the price at which you would just say, I did all I could do, I cannot have regrets. You didn't lose it for $2,500 that you didn't spend, right?
So glad you're bringing this up, because I'm working with a client now that has an FHA loan. So there's a limit on what they can do.
Can they pay over the appraised value or not?
Depends what it is, a little bit, but not a lot.
I am not an FHA nor a VA expert. I do very few of those loans. I have an FHA buyer right now, and I'm just as puzzled as the next person. So it is a very good loan product. I totally support veterans and believe in VA. I have a VA buyer right now. We absolutely lost out on 3 homes because he's a VA buyer. And I can't, go ahead.
I wanted to share with you something crazy that happened with my listing. We had 14 offers, so
Oh my God.
it was supposed to be cash offer because it was backed up with Ribbon. And Ribbon is this new program that they back up the appraised value. They don't come with the cash if the appraised value is not the same as the purchase value, so they will come with the cash. And so it was cash, it was the best offer in all terms. But Ribbon, after we signed the contract, Ribbon was asking for documents and was asking for stipulations and things that would change the contract completely. So I was like, no, and you will lose your earnest money, which was $7,000. She was like, no. We will not work with Ribbon, we will work with our lender. And guess what? It was an FHA. And it's like, and the appraiser, I'm sorry, she will come up with the cash. We wrote an amendment, and the amendment says the buyer will bring to the table any difference between the appraised value and the purchase value. If not, she will lose her earnest money. I'm sorry, that was their due diligence. They had to do it.
Yeah.
But when the appraiser came to the house to appraise the home, he told me that in this market, he has noticed that in the order sheet, they say conventional or they say cash, but a lot of agents have lied and they are FHA.
Whoa.
But he appraised the value as a conventional or cash when, the regulations are that is different. For FHA, they require certain things in the house to be completed that is not required in conventional on cash offers. So that made me think, I never asked what kind of loan is this, because it was a cash offer. So maybe what I should have done in the beginning.
It's not contingent on the loan.
It is not.
So it doesn't
because
matter.
she has the cash.
Right.
But what happens if she wouldn't
so
have the cash?
I'm assuming that the form that was attached to the offer said all cash offer with the right to get a loan. Right, because there's a right, there says you check the box, right to take a loan or no right to take a loan.
How do I know it will be? Yes, but my point is I didn't confirm if that the loan that she would have the right to get would be conventional or FHA.
And it shouldn't matter because they were an all cash buyer where they lose their money.
So what I'm saying is,
I would have to see your contract and be sure
they're just coming with these trees. They're getting so, I don't know, inventive to win the offer because we have better offers.
Yeah.
But just because it was cash.
Yeah, as long as they guarantee all cash and have proof of funds. Did you get proof of funds for the all cash?
No, because it will be backed up by Ribbon, the program that buys the house. Ribbon.
Oh, Ribbon.
Yes. Ribbon, I'm sorry.
Ribbon.
That's why we didn't have proof of funds.
Okay. I was in a multiple offer situation on my listing and someone came with a ribbon contract and we didn't take it just because we didn't understand clearly what ribbon did or didn't do. And ribbon had a stipulation that it was contingent on the inspection, but it was no time limit. Like it could go down to the closing day. And we said, we're just not comfortable with that. And unfortunately, the buyer's agent did not understand the ribbon program either to explain it to me. So we passed on that offer. And it could have been a good offer.
Yeah.
But again, there were things in that ribbon that I didn't understand. I could not understand it. And I really, again, I have 36 years of reading contracts. I could not understand it.
Well.
So I was like, yeah, I need somebody to explain what this means. I'm not a lawyer. And there was a lot of double talk in that contract, in that amendment. And then I didn't know what clause prevailed over what clause, because anyway, it was just confusing to me. And I didn't want to advise the seller. I advised the seller I didn't understand it. I said, do you understand it? And they said no. And I called the buyer's agent and he did not understand everything.
That happened to me as well. She was like, I am lost.
So if that comes across, the buyer's agent needs to do their research and understand to be able to explain it. Or you could have time to call the ribbon representative, I don't know. But basically, if it's an all cash offer, and they have the right to take a mortgage, your seller shouldn't care what kind of mortgage they take, because their earnest money is on the line for an all-cash offer. And if they're refused a loan, their earnest money is still on the line. If they did that all-cash offer, right to take a mortgage. And my clients do that. I mean, they usually leave that box checked in case they want to take a mortgage, okay? Anything else on your checklist after checking with the agent?
When speaking with the listing agent, build a report and gather as much information about the seller and the property as you can.
Good, and we just said that basically, didn't we? Mm-hmm. That's your job. That's your most critical job, is to be, Sally Charming, So give me a typical conversation that you might say, ring, ring, one of y'all, I'm the listing agent, give me a call.
Ring, ring.
Hi, this is Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. Is 123 Main Street still available?
Oddly it is. Do you have any offers?
Do you have any offers?
I do. We're at about 6 offers right now.
Are you taking backup offers?
Well, we only have offers. We haven't accepted.
Do you have any cash offers? Do you have any cash offers?
Well, are you a cat? Now you're going to proceed to tell me about your client.
Oh, okay. Yes, I have a cash buyer.
I'm checking with you because I have a cash buyer, right?
Yes, I'm checking with you because I have a cash buyer.
That's awesome. When are you going to bring the offer?
Right in 15 minutes.
Okay, great. We have a deadline of 5 o'clock tonight for all offers in. I don't know if you saw that in the private remarks on FMLS, but 5 o'clock tonight, the seller will be reviewing all offers. Could you get it in by 5?
Yes, I can get it in by 5.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, thank you.
I will add, what does your client need?
Correct.
I will add that because you want to present a strong offer.
Okay, so let me do that with one of you, okay? You be the seller, I'm gonna call you. The listing agent, sorry, not the seller, I'm gonna call the seller. Be the listing agent, wants to be a listing agent. Raise your hand, I'm gonna call you. Okay. Ring, ring.
Hi.
What's your name?
Hi, this is Jason.
Okay, how do y'all answer the phone? This is a good question. How do you answer the phone?
I would say.
The H1, how do you answer the phone?
I say, Sahai Masai speaking.
Okay, so ring, ring.
Hello, this is Sahai Masai speaking.
Great, Sahai, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Ring,
meet you.
ring.
Hi, this is Jason speaking.
Great, okay, do y'all do this? How many do this
I
right
say,
now?
hi, this is Althea.
Okay, perfect. You do it? Yeah. Okay. You need to say your name, I think. So I don't, I've gone to, hi, this is Cynthia. Usually, be a little bit nicer to say, may I help you? But I kind of just cut it off. I just go, hi, this is Cynthia. Or I say Cynthia Pierce. I used to just grab the phone and go, Cynthia Pierce, and then they, talk. I think your name is very important because I could have dialed the wrong number. But anyway, okay. Ring, ring.
Hi, this is Jason.
Hey Jason, this is Cynthia Pierce at Keller Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Oh, I'm very good. Listen, you're listing on 123 Main Street. Is that still available?
Oddly enough, it is.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man, do you have offers on it?
We do. We're currently reviewing a few of them.
Oh, what's the deadline?
The deadline will be 3 o'clock today.
3 o'clock today. Okay, well, I'm calling because I just showed the property and my buyer is an all-cash buyer. And guess what? They have like 3 little kids that are dying for that backyard. And it's it's a perfect fit for them. They can do all cash. They're a clean offer. Can you wait for me to get that into at 3:30?
I'll wait for you for 3:30. But you have to come with a strong offer. Like
Okay.
some of the offers that I received have been very, very strong.
Really?
How far is your buyer willing to come?
You know, I'm not sure the exact price right now, but they are going in over list, so just want you to know that. Do you feel like everybody else is over list right now?
Yes.
See, I just fished. I just fished, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? Now the agents are being pretty transparent because it's a waste of my time if my buyer wants to come in below list. A waste of his time. And so we just, you got to do what your buyer wants you to do, but it takes about 2 hours to write up an offer and do it properly. So it's great. That's great information. Do your buyers have a set time? Your sellers, do they have a set time that they want to close or be out of the house, or where are they going?
Well, they're currently traveling around the country. So right now the property is vacant. So we could definitely, it will be favorable to close within the next 30 days.
Awesome. Well, I've got an all-cash buyer. They could close really quick. Would that help your seller?
Yeah, that definitely would work.
Great. Well, I think that would be good. Is there anything else your seller needs? Do they need a lease back after closing? Because we're an apartment. We could, stay longer if we need it. Do they need to close and get their money out and go buy something else, or what's their situation?
No, they could currently close. They could currently close. As I mentioned, the property is vacant.
Where are they moving?
They have properties throughout the country.
Nice.
So right now they're in one of their properties in
Wonder why they decided to sell this one.
Well, they're definitely, the family is smaller. Their family has downsized.
I got it. And my family is upsizing, so it's a great fit.
Yes.
I really hope that we can win. So my people are pre-approved. Well, they are, I'll send you proof of funds, and they are well qualified. They love the house. I'll get that over to you as soon as possible, but no later than 3 to 3:30.
Okay, perfect.
Great. I really look forward to working with you. Thanks for taking my call, Jason.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. What did you think?
You got a lot of information that would be helpful in writing your offer.
Right.
And you created a connection with the agent. This unconsciously is good.
Right. And the other thing I typically say is when you said, I kind of do say this, when you said, I said, how many offers do you have? I said, 6 or so. Oh my gosh, you are so busy. You must be going crazy. Are you going crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And the agent, I'm just going crazy, And so you're already empathizing with them because guess what? We're all in the same seat if we have a listing. We're in the same seat, and I take every call. When I had the listing that got 15 offers, I took every single phone call for the entire, from Thursday to Sunday, which I don't normally. When an unknown number comes up, I leave me a message, I took every call because I want to be courteous to the buyer's agents. I want to let them know what the status is. I want to let them know what the seller needed, and I want the best offer for my seller. So if you're not answering your phone, I would say shame, shame, shame. You have to answer your phone just so we could have that conversation. Now, other agents are just shooting offers over and not even saying, please confirm. So he has no knowledge of the client, the person trying to buy. And a lot of times people are buying on emotion, the emotion, or selling on emotion. They're going to pick the one that they think is the one they want to have the house. You got 15 offers. Money's one thing, but money may not be everything. So somebody may have pride of ownership and say, I just want a young family, or I want somebody like me that, has already downsized and would, it just, everybody's in a different place in their life. So that was great answers.
Yes.
Yes.
My mind just went blank. It will come back to me.
Yeah, so you have to have a copy of the purchase and sale, all right? Everyone have a copy. Is there anything else on your checklist first that I missed?
Inquiring about activities on the property.
You have to sell us disclosure statement.
Yes. How do you get the seller's disclosure? Who can tell me?
I can tell, it would be an FMLS, but if the agent didn't upload it, you have to ask.
Check first in FMLS, please.
Yeah.
Don't call me and ask me to send me I go to a lot of trouble to be sure that the documents are loaded in FMLS. And, you know, if agents are calling, okay, do you have the disclosures? I'm like, yes, they're in FMLS.
Yeah.
You want to look, okay? Because you just told me you didn't look. All right.
And MLS, it'll be in the documents. They
It's,
upload it.
yeah. Now, if you don't have the disclosures yet, really work on getting the disclosures.
Yeah, you gotta get from the agent.
We're kind of, my friends and I are kind of said, we're making a policy that if you don't give me the disclosures, I'm not putting your listing active. Because it just is such a big thing. You need to have the disclosures available and they need to be online. So we're just gonna, it holds everything up when you don't have them yet. And I've listed many properties without having the disclosures filled out. So it's a waste of time. So after that, after disclosures, something else?
Find out about other offers.
Okay, we did that, good.
That's classic.
Anything else?
Well, then it jumps over to write the offer.
Okay, write the offer is your purchase and sale. Everybody grab one. Who has not seen this form before? Okay. What you're gonna do is, I'm fortunate that I have an assistant. So I don't do this personally, and I don't know how to tell you how to do it, but you need to go to GACCC and get the legal description. And I don't know, Stacy, ask Stacy.
We have an
Stacy.
email,
Pardon?
we have an email and that actually amazing. They reply to you like right away with the legal description.
Gannett does.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
just,
the-
but,
It's just amazing.
That's the legal description.
yeah, the legal description.
Okay.
You must have a legal description. Okay.
They upload, they'll send you the deed. at
Again,
your
I
time,
forgot.
you can attach
I
it.
use them, but now Diane pulls everything for me, 'cause we have access, but
So what is it?
it's something at Gannett.
The email is,
It goes,
I'm
I don't
searching.
remember, but Stacy has the email.
yes, just a
that I-
quick email to
Yeah.
them, and they have
It is
somebody
close
close it.
KW at J, I'm gonna spell it, I'm sorry. J as in Georgia, A, and as in Nancy,
It's Gannett,
E,
Gannett.
Gannett,
K as in Kilo,
G, yeah,
P
close
as
it,
in Peter, C as in Charlie,
close at Gannett, close at,
I love
close
it.
KW at
It's
Gannett.com.
to save my life, when I started real estate, when I took the exam, I was like, okay, I think the hardest part of real estate would be going to the actual courthouse and getting the legal.
No, you don't go to the courthouse.
Uh-huh.
Close at Gannett.com, whatever. But you need that legal description, so you're gonna check box number 1 here, attached legal description, all right? And read it, just glance at it and be sure you got the right one when they send it, when you get it. So first of all, you're gonna fill in the address of the property. Now, this would be automatically filled in Command or in DocuSign or in Remind. Any of those formats that you're gonna prepare your offer in. This training teaches you to do it in Command, okay? Is everybody logged into Command so far?
Yes.
Okay, so you can go through the templates in Command. I personally use Remind, so I'm just more familiar with it. And Remind, it's gonna auto-populate the address and the listing agent's names and numbers and all of that, okay? So that's gonna be in here for you. So when you go to here, your address will be populated in, and it goes to B, legal description. You're gonna check box number 1. And then you're gonna reference it all the way back on page 7, is it? Let's see, page 7. Okay, do you see legal description on here?
Yeah.
Scroll down, just go down, it's right about midway. These are the ones you have to identify your exhibits, A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. So typical exhibits are loan contingency, all cash exhibit, seller's property disclosure, community association exhibit, and if you have If you're a backup, if you're, right now, you're not gonna be writing any contracts.
I'm sorry, you said consumer, what? You said consumer?
I don't think so, community association.
Oh, okay.
Community association, and that will be provided if it's an HOA.
So we need all cash, seller's property disclosure, if it's an FHA, but I mean,
What type of loan, whatever type of loan, it's either all cash, FHA, VA, or conventional.
and legal
They're all in
description.
here.
Okay.
And if it's a condominium, that's another exhibit. If it's the sale or lease of buyer's property contingency, you're wasting your time in this market. If you have a buyer that has to do that, go ahead and call the listing agent. Maybe the property's been on the market for 2 months. If the property's been on the market for 2 months, you can start your negotiations, okay? You can say, hey, what's going on? Why hasn't it sold? I asked the agent that point blank. Tell me why it hasn't sold. Well, had mold in the basement and, we got it remediated or whatever.
You can't say it's overpriced like mine.
Well, not really, but you can say we had offers that were lower and the seller rejected them.
Okay, I like that.
Right? But now they're more motivated, so please bring an offer, because they've been on the market for 60 days.
So just like on the first page where we checked that we attached the legal description.
You check it
we
back
have to
here as
check it back
exhibit
here
like
as well.
A. Right.
Okay.
So if y'all don't know this, and I think you already do, everything on page 1 that you're filling out is all these, like, if you go to 1, purchase and sale, if you flip over to page 2, guess what? There's a full explanation of purchase and sale. Okay, so everything you want to know is in the body of the contract that is referenced if you fill out this short. Okay, so everything, if you want to know about earnest money, you just go back to stipulation number 7 in the body of the contract. Does everybody know that already?
I do now.
Okay. Okay, so it's just, that's the format of the contract. So everything you check here, if there's an exhibit, like this legal exhibit, let's say that you had temporary occupancy. Guess what you need? Temporary occupancy addendum, all right, or exhibit, whichever it is. So if your buyer is willing to let the seller stay in the property after closing, you need to attach a temporary occupancy exhibit. Everybody know what that is? It's just allowing the seller to stay in the property for X number of days, and it specifies it.
So it wouldn't be considered they wouldn't be considered a tenant?
The whole reason for that exhibit is that it prevents it from being a tenant-landlord relationship. So that is a great question. You do not want to create a tenant-landlord relationship, because that then becomes a whole lot of legal stuff. And you need to have a lease exhibit if it's a full lease. The lenders, to my knowledge, will only allow a seller to stay in the property up to 60 days after closing under the temporary occupancy. So again, you want to have a conversation with the lender if you're doing a temporary occupancy and somebody says, well, I need 70 days. That typically doesn't fly for a loan, all right? Just kind of know that. So anyway, whatever you're going to fill out here. So then we're going to go down to purchase price of the property, and you're going to fill in the price, and then closing costs. Right now, I don't have any buyers that are asking for closing costs. Do you guys?
I had one, $9,000.
Did he win the bid, or was it a bidding war?
No, because we got 14 offers, and she was the only one who submitted. That was the only offer
That had closing costs.
and it was $9,000.
Yeah. So right now, unfortunately, you're probably not getting closing costs paid by seller unless you really ramp up the price. If you want $9,000 in closing costs, you need to put the purchase price at $9,000 higher than you would have put it.
Oh, wow.
To try to cover it. Because most of the time, again, go back to that conversation with the listing agent. If it's been on the market for 30 days, I think you can start negotiating. Okay, if it's been on the market 2 days, you really have no negotiation probably in this market. So you go down and then, so closing costs would be filled in if you're asking the seller to pay anything. And then the closing date and possession, that's where the temporary occupancy would come in if the seller is staying after closing. All parties have to agree. You can either require rent or not rent. In this market, if my client has allowed anyone to stay in the, afterwards, they do not make them pay. This is part of the, I'll give you this if you'll give me the house. So, makes sense? And then you further go down, and then the money, earnest money, everybody know what ACH is?
Transfer.
Thank you, I don't know what it stands for.
Oh, automatic clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse, okay. So you want to try to do ACH. Ask somebody how to do it, but that is the most fantastic way to get earnest money if you're not with your buyer at that moment and get a check. Okay.
Versus a wire transfer.
Versus wire. We don't like wires. We like ACH and we like checks. We don't like wires.
ACH holds the earnest?
No, it goes straight to our account here at Keller Williams.
Okay, but ACH obtains it? They transfer it over for us?
I have no clue how it works.
And
It's like Venmo. It's basically a Venmo.
It's yeah, from
It's like
bank to
Venmo,
bank.
bank to
From
bank.
bank to, yeah.
Okay, so just think of it as Venmo, and the code comes out from, I don't know, Diane, my assistant, initiates it. She goes into whatever it is, so you'll have to ask Stacy how you actually do this. I have the fortunate luxury of having an assistant, so there are certain things
You've
that
been doing
I
this
don't
since you were
focus
12.
on. Yeah.
I do have a question about that. It might be a little bit off topic,
That's okay.
but at what point in your career did you decide, oh, I need like the extra help, or I need that extra assistance?
When you get, I don't know, but like if you have 20 transactions a year, you probably need an assistant.
Okay.
And then start with admin. Always start with admin first. And Gary, the MREA book, okay, is everybody familiar with that?
Yes, I signed up for the class.
Go to the MREA book, and it'll tell you exactly when they suggest that you get help, leverage, and start with an admin. That's the best thing. And you can either train somebody, or you can find somebody that already has real estate experience to help you. Sometimes training people works really well if you're good at training. I'm terrible at training.
You're doing a great job today.
Oh, no. Thank you. It's the details, though. Like, ACH, what does that mean? I don't know. I just know it works really, really well. So you definitely want to consider that. And then definitely want to check possession normally at closing. To protect your buyer, the best of all scenarios is to have possession at closing, which means the seller is out prior to closing and you can do a walkthrough and see how the house is before you go and pay your money. In this market, obviously, we've had to do a lot of, buyers have had to jump over hoops and pay college tuition and, do whatever, give them a Maserati, whatever it is, to get the house. But right now, so basically the best for your buyer is possession at closing, so you check that box, and then you need to say who's holding the earnest money. We always hold the earnest money here at Keller Williams. If somebody asks an attorney to hold it, you can do that and have Gannett hold it, but there's no reason to. We are a licensed broker, we have escrow account, and we hold the earnest money. So you put in here Keller Williams Atlanta Perimeter. And then the closing law firm, Gannett. Yes.
You know how you said that there are times when the buyers will allow the sellers to stay into the property longer?
Yes.
So for the possession date, would it still be the date that they close, even though they're still?
No, that's a great question. No, if it's not, if it's that, then you have to come over here and it says blank days after closing. 30 days after closing at 6:00 p.m., whatever, okay? You see that? And then it says right here, attach F-219 temporary occupancy agreement, which is what I was referencing. It's another form, and then you reference that form back here on your page 7, because you attached another exhibit. All right?
So let me ask a question about the earnest money, because I had 2 properties that were like investment type properties that an investor bought, and they wanted the attorney to hold the earnest money.
You can do that. Do they have an attorney they work with that they
Yeah, that they worked with, and their attorney did the closing too.
That's all right, as long as they're real estate attorneys.
Okay, but what I was just realizing, and I read that the attorney must sign the.
Absolutely, there's 2 different forms now for the attorneys holding the earnest money. And one is that it authorizes the attorney to hold it, and another one, the attorney has to sign it. And the attorney won't sign it till they receive the earnest money. So they need to, so there's 2 forms, and they're referenced in your GAR forms. You can find those forms if an attorney's holding the earnest money. Renee Dillon, our affiliated attorney, has taught us that it's not a great idea because the attorney is not a party to the contract, therefore is not responsible for the terms of the contract. So people think it's like a great thing, but it isn't so great. So it is definitely possible. Just, you know, if your client wants it, we definitely can accommodate it. Try to get it to Gannett, but, you know, if they have their own attorney they've been working with, I understand that, then that's what they want to do.
I've seen somewhere the listing agent says we prefer this particular law firm.
I put that in my listings now, because on your private remarks on the listings now, we're definitely telling people what the seller wants. So you probably noticed that. You know, seller prefers temporary occupancy after closing, preferred lender is blah, 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 preferred attorney is blah, blah, blah.
So if the seller wants that, you want to get the.
Yeah, I closed the one that has the 15 offers, we closed at Gannett because we put it in the listing.
Right.
We prefer Gannett.
But the seller doesn't want Gannett, they say they want Weissman.
That's fine.
That's fine, you sort of put it in there.
Yeah, put Weissman or put it in the remarks and then, you know, don't lose a deal over.
Right.
But if they say they're going to ABC law firm, I mean, you gotta know who the attorney is and they are real estate attorneys. Because sometimes people, yeah, my brother practices law and blah, blah, and he wants to do it for me for free. Yeah, well, he's not a real estate attorney. Okay, because there's a whole nother world. Okay, let me see so that's about writing the offer, and let me see. Issues you're running into in writing new offers. You got the checklist, we already did issues. You can create your offer in Command, which we already mentioned that. And I will, if you need to see that, Stacy will show you. I didn't want to do videos today or slide things because I was going to go fast through this. And complete the offer, enter in your buyer seller information. They have an agent analysis at the bottom right of the page, which sounds good to me, where you can go in and write down why you think this is the price to pay or what you think the comps are. That's on Command. In Command, when you're using the template there, it gives you a place to analyze why what you think about that price or whatever you want to put in. So just telling you that that's there, and then you enter the terms of the offer, and you save it, save your work. Don't forget to save it. Ensure the buyer knows that all the checks, earnest money are written at the time, or you have to put within X days. So typically what we see is if you're getting a check or ACH, we put, even though ACH is almost instantaneous, we still put 2 days after binding or 1 day after binding, just to be sure that everybody gets the check. Or the
I'm sorry, where's that? That's for the
on
earnest money?
On the earnest money,
okay.
On the front part of if you see number 7, earnest money.
Yes.
Now, if you're sitting with your buyer physically and writing the offer, you can hand you a check right then. If they do that, make a copy of the check, attach it to the offer, okay? If they don't do that, then I put within 2 days of binding. And then I can do ACH or I can pick up a check, okay? Like I had somebody going international and we knew that we couldn't do ACH because it would be a different IP address and it would look like it was coming from, bad money.
Yeah.
So we had them ACH before they went out of the country. All right, so just be aware of stuff like that. So that you see where you do your earnest money. So mine is usually checked, $5,000 within blank days, within 2 days of binding. If you already have the check, take a picture, attach it. And then turn the check in to the broker, right? And put in there that it's being held until you go binding. You don't hold it. You never hold earnest money in your office, in your wallet, in any possession. The law requires that you bring the earnest money as soon as possible. So I know in Florida, the test I had to take said you bring it the next business day. Other than that, you're in violation. Okay, so I think of earnest money as a hot potato. Don't want to touch it, just want it to get to the broker. So ACH is easy because you don't actually hold it physically.
So we can get that information from Ellie about how to do ACH?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a way of sending the code. There's a code and then they enter and it goes. Probably Stacy or my assistant Diane, anybody who does that can tell you. How many of y'all are sitting down with buyers at the time of the offer? I mean, I don't know that that is even a thing anymore. Is that a thing?
It may be tomorrow.
I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Okay. I do corporate relocation. I probably have never in the last, I don't know, number of years been with my buyer as we prepared the offer. Number one, it is extremely stressful. I have been so stressed out when I have a buyer sitting in the conference room and they're waiting for me to type up the offer, get the seller's disclosures, get everything pulled together, talk to them about the terms and all. I would consider that I don't want to do that. I just say, I'll call you back in a couple hours when I got the offer ready and we'll review it over the phone. Okay, because there's a lot of pressure if you're trying to do it all by yourself and they're sitting in the waiting room, right? I mean, it's good to do in some ways that you're having that conversation personally, but I tend to do it personally over the phone. So they're saying bring your laptop and sit down with your client and go through the offer and summarize it, but I do that over the phone. You can also do it on a Zoom call if you want to see it. And then create your buyer opportunity in Command, and then that way, all your forms go along. And then submitting a cover letter. The cover letter can come from you or it can come from your buyer. We have to be we're getting some pushback now on NAR about these love letters from buyers going to sellers, like, oh, my 3 children just want to play in the backyard. And guess what? That is a protected class family. So we're crossing the line on those letters. I'm still using them until I'm told not to, but you'll see a lot of I'm telling my buyer, if you want to write a letter, don't be too flowery about family and, obviously not religion but you could say, we look forward to making memories in this home for many years to come, right? We can kind of circumvent a little bit. Yeah.
I've heard of somebody including like animals, their pets.
That's a good one.
My pet's looking for a new
I
home.
just love that fenced yard, you
Yeah.
know. So remember the protected classes and don't cross over.
Right.
So that cover letter would go with the offer?
With the offer.
Okay.
Absolutely. The cover letter can be an email from you, like what I just said to Jason, my client, I said the 3 children, but that wasn't documented. So I would say, you can write, my buyers are super qualified. They fell in love with this house from the moment they walked in. The emotion just overwhelmed the wife. She wanted to live here for a long time. She could just see her family here. I did say family, but I didn't say,
yeah,
any family.
But that's what he's saying. You didn't go into.
I didn't say right.
Yeah.
But if you just have pets, that would be better. But I think you can write the letter about how qualified your people are, how much they love the home, and how much you want to. You just hope they'll win and they'll consider it. My buyers have written the most flowery love letters I've ever seen. They're fantastic, but they don't always win with that anyway. But it's a good help. Okay, so that letter goes.
Question: do you typically just encourage them to do it, like, hey,
I do.
Okay.
But now I'm cautioning them not to talk too much about their particular family, and just talk about the memories they want to create, or that their sister lives in the neighborhood, or something that is, that would appeal to the heartstrings of the seller. And a lot of times sellers have a choice. Their offers are very similar. They want somebody who they feel like would take over, and I always say, we'll be good stewards going forward, appreciate all the tender love you put into the home. It's obvious that you put in so much care, and, we love all your choices. You want me to go on?
I'm going to throw a curveball in, because I know that my buyer tomorrow, he's staying in a hotel.
Yeah, that's
his
good.
wife put him out. So, right, but that's so. He had a stroke, and while he was recovering, she's like, "Don't come back." Do I use that? No. And so he's in a hurry.
It's funny, but it's not.
He's like, "I need a place to live, and I want to buy something right now."
Well, part of the tagline of my last client, they told me I wrote 15 offers for them. Shoot me. Their last line in every letter was, and oh, by the way, my husband says, please sell us your home because we're living with with his in-laws, my parents. My mother. So my husband says, please sell us your home because, you know, we're living with in-laws.
Can I
So,
use that?
Yeah, you can just say, you know, my buyer is basically living in a hotel, waiting to find the perfect home. Your home struck him for whatever reason, whatever he likes, you know, the master on the main, or, you know, you're talking about
creative.
Yeah. You kind of get the idea.
I in the news, like a month ago, was in the news that this lady, in order to win the offer, she put in the offer that she would name her first child.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that. And she never asked us to, it was not accepted.
No, we've done very much tongue in cheek, you know, we'll pay the kids, your first 2 kids' college tuition, you know, we've done a lot of funny things.
Baseball tickets up here as well.
Yeah, so we've done that, we've definitely done some of those things. Let me see, so this one is telling you to break in and cover and go over scripts to overcome common objections in writing offers. What are the common objections that you're gonna have that they're referencing here? So if they wanna make a low offer, you'll wanna be sure of the possible repercussions of such a low offer. I got it. It's common for buyers to want to request that the seller make repairs in their offer. This objection handler script allows you to give your client information to make an informed decision about repairs they request for making their initial offer. Well, that is pretty much off the table in this market. This was written for a normal market, okay? We're not in a normal market. You really, you know, if it's obvious that there's I mean, I had a buyer trying to buy a house that had a tremendously cracked driveway. I mean, it obviously has to have a brand new driveway. Well, you know, that's over $10,000. So I said to the buyer, I mean, are you willing to do this driveway? It's obvious you have to do the driveway. And they said, well, I think we'll live with it for a little while and then we'll do it. You know, in the old days, we might have said, you know, we're offering you $490 instead of $500 because we need to get this driveway fixed right away, right? But right now, if you're in a bidding war, you need to find out if you're in a bidding war, because if it's a bidding war and your buyer really wants the house, you got to keep it clean, almost zero stipulations.
So what if you talk to the listing agent and they literally don't give you any information? You're just very like blank.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's not doing that. The most thing you're likely to run into is that they don't answer your call.
Yeah.
They don't call you back and they don't answer their text. We're having a lot of that.
So in cases like that, what would you do? Would you just like?
I would stay sweet, and it's really hard because you're mad as a hornet.
Mm-hmm.
I would stay sweet. Hey, tried to reach you again. Could you please confirm you got my client's offer? Because by then you got to just get it in. You know,
Just send the offer.
Just send it in, but please confirm. I'm sorry, I know you're slammed. Keep going, keep giving back to them. I know you're slammed, but please, 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 my buyer really loves this house. I need to find out if they're in the running or whatever it is you need to know. Just keep, and I mean, I had heard one yesterday where they were copying the broker. Wasn't that talked about in the meeting? Some meeting they were copying the broker. They copied, maybe it's my mastermind, and they copied the agent, and the broker just said, I'm not calling you back, you know, too bad. They got too many offers, they don't have time. So a lot of companies, not Keller Williams, don't abide by the ethics, the standard of ethics.
Right, I'm like, even a received.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just like, please confirm you got it. Yeah, the agent was texting, calling, and even copying the broker, and no one called back. So that's not normal, but we're starting to see it. So when Jason answered the phone, you know, hey Jason, thanks for taking my call. This is Cynthia Pierce at Keller Williams, and I've got a buyer that's interested in your listing at 123 Main Street. Is it still available? And you know, he took my call, right? He could have just said, can't talk right now, blah, 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 and we might be texting. I like texting. The younger people do whatever else they do, but I do texting. So they do TikTok.
A quick rollback to like the driveway situation.
Mm-hmm.
My seller is willing to spend all kinds of money to fix up the house that doesn't need to be done, but he doesn't want to lower his price. It should be listed, it's at $425. It should be around $380. He's like, well, I'm gonna redo the driveway and I'm gonna clean this off and do that. I'm like,
how many showings have you had?
How many calls have I had? 2.
Why is that?
It's the area. He overbuilt when it was rebuilt in 2010. He did it himself. It's the biggest house in the neighborhood. 8-mile radius. There's not a comp. It's not brand new.
Yeah, so he needs to get
It's
below
very
4.
specific.
He just needs to get below 4 and make it beautiful. Needs to make it beautiful.
I think it's beautiful. It's odd.
I think it's really nice, but people are gonna wanna put work into it.
For sure.
Cosmetic.
Absolutely.
They're gonna wanna put 25,000 probably in changing some of the doors and painting some of the wood, unfinished wood.
Unfinished?
It's just, he has a very raw wood look. It's pretty, but it's not for everybody.
He likes everything is wood. And I spent $800 on all these doors. Like he's
emotionally attached to the house. He's very proud of it.
Basically, what's this guy doing to our agent here?
Making her nuts. It's a nice house. It really is a nice place, and if he allows her to do what she wants to do,
her of his value. Who determines value?
The market.
The market, the buyers. You know, Mr. Seller, I understand all the great, personal and customizable things you did, but I have done a great job in marketing your property. It's out there, everybody knows about it, and we are not getting any traction at all. We have 2 choices. We can change what? Price and condition. I suggest we change both if you really want to sell. What is your level of motivation? You know, do you really want to sell? Do you need to sell? They're like, I don't really need to sell. I just want to wait till someone someone comes along, that unicorn comes along, and you're telling him, I'm looking for a unicorn. It hasn't come up in the last, how many days?
It's only been 3 weeks.
Well, 14 days, but what are the stats of the area?
It should have sold in 3 days.
Okay, show them the stats, right? You're not making this up. This is the market. So the market's showing you're at this level, and what would you like to do? If they want to just wait and you want to wait it out, I mean, I've had a listing for a year, and the seller, that's not my MO. I don't like that, but you can stay along as long as the seller's not calling you every day saying, why is no one looking at my house? I don't know,
And
why
he's
are you?
fine with it.
And if he's fine with it, then you're not gonna do anything. You just leave it on FMLS, but try to get him to do price and condition. Because he's going less and less and less likely to get his price the longer he stays on the market. So use the chart that shows, the highest offers are within the first 2 weeks, and after that, it goes down. So he's not gonna get the money, and he's gonna flatten out and just stay at the bottom over time.
Well,
Stale bread. I mean, how long does bread stay on the market, on the shelf, and then you don't buy it?
He likes stale bread. He's an antiques guy. and he was dirt poor, and he built this house with his own hands. He's very proud of this house. It's a whole psychological thing.
Well, he has issues.
Maybe, but I think
who doesn't have issues right now?
But yeah, he is very emotionally.
It's a question of, do you
he's
want to
very
be in
proud
business
of this
with him?
home.
Because this
There's
is
a love to it. It's not just a house.
I walked in here talking to him on the phone. I was like, here's my license. I have a listing. What do I do?
Yeah.
So that was the emotional attachment for me. Like, oh my gosh, look at me. I just got started and I have a listing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my gosh, can I go to sleep?
Yeah. Well, if he's not pressuring you, I mean, it's up to you. It's a business decision. But how much money are you going to throw at it when you know you're not winning?
No more.
Okay, and you have to explain to him, I've done my marketing costs, my upfront costs, whichever, you don't have to say what they are, but you are spending your time and your money. Your time is your money. Okay, if you hold open house and get a buyer, that could be worthwhile to have the listing.
He does not want anyone that's coming.
Okay, he's handcuffing you.
Mm-hmm.
He's totally handcuffing you, and you're trying to help him. So you need to explain to Mr. Seller, I'm looking for a unicorn for your home, and it's not happening in a timely manner. So the longer you stay on the market, the less money you are going to get, statistically proven. And here's the stat, okay? If you're on the market 360 days, it's unlikely you're gonna get your list price. And do you wanna hang in for that?
No.
I mean, I don't like sellers calling me and asking me to do stuff. I just wanna, I want them gone. Like, okay. So my favorite saying is I like dating, but I don't like being married. I'm not marrying that listing. Jason, you had a comment?
Yes. If in due case you have like a listing that for some is overpriced and the seller doesn't wanna budge on adjusting to the market.
Right.
And that listing goes on for a year, wouldn't that give you like a negative look just
it
for the
affects
fact.
your status.
Yeah, right.
I mean, people can find out how long, how many price reductions you had with your, I mean, one of the listing calls I went on, and I actually didn't get the listing, she was like, how many days on market, how many price reductions had my inventory had, which it turned out I had 0. But she wanted to price it, let's tell this, she wanted to price it where another agent said at $625, and I said, all in at $595 is a stretch, and then, but if you go $595, I think you might get multiple offers and you could drive the price up. If you go $625, people have expectations, and they expect, and this is synthetic stucco on a corner without a master on the main in a retirement type of community. So I was like, okay, have it. She got an offer in 8 days, and then it fell out, still on the market. So, oh darn, so sad for her. I think had she done $595, she would have appealed to more people. Every time you go over a psychological number, people have expectations. And yes, now that house is on the market already for maybe a month, okay, way beyond the statistical average of that neighborhood, which is what happens, and that becomes the statistical average for the agent as well. But I don't, I've sold $6 million homes. I had the listing for, I had the listing and I sold it in the 4s actually, and I had it for like 2.5 years. So those kinds of properties you can expect to have for a year. That's a different animal. But 250 to $1 million, you better get rid of it and get it sold if you can. Just, help them get it sold. Okay. What else is on here that I need to cover for you guys, because I want to get you out? And I was thinking, if we have time, I'll open the floor. You can ask me anything you want to ask. Okay. But I need to get through so now you've made the offer, so let's switch hats and you're the seller's agent, right? So, by the way, they are reminding you in here, the first few offers you write at least the first 3. What do you need to do?
Have someone look at it? Yeah.
Who's the someone?
Stacy.
Team leaders?
Team leader, Stacy.
And Lynn.
Lynn, well, Lynn not so much because she is contract compliant. She's compliance. If you have a specific question, you can text her, email her, but not just like how to fill out the whole contract.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So if you
Because I know
fill
in
out the
command,
contract, you need to get it reviewed by your
sends stuff
mentor,
back.
your sponsor, the team leader, or Stacy, the agent services, okay? An assistant team leader agent. You need somebody that's experienced to read your contract and ask you questions about it and be sure that you've got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, all right? Don't miss that step, okay? Because real estate jail is not fun.
Well, in this market, and I gotta hurry. I'm writing the offer, send it to someone, have them look at it, and then send the offer in. Okay.
Or if you know you're writing an offer, pick up the phone.
Okay.
Stacy, I'm writing an offer. Can I send it to you real quick? Could you look at it? Whoever. Do y'all all have sponsors that brought you into Keller Williams? Are they in this office? It doesn't matter if they're not in this office, but if they're in California, that matters. They're not going to review your contract, but if they're in this office or with Keller Williams in general, in Metro Atlanta, they can help you with your first 3 contracts as well. We have Terry was our launch coach, and if you went into coaching with her, she totally handheld you through all your first 3 transactions. Now we'll get another coach. I don't know who it is at this exact minute, but that's who you could get into coaching with and really learn the ins and outs of contracts and presentation and all. We're covering it right now a little bit, but there's going to be 65 different things that bombard you, and you're going, whoa, what do I do now?
Right.
I get that. I call a friend. I always call my best friend. Hey, I broke a broker. I do that. I'll type her broker, she'll call me back. So, if I have a broker issue, how do I handle this, septic tank that the seller, whatever. There's so many weird circumstances. So the presentation of the offer is important. Explain the cover letter. We did all that. Customer comes first. Make sure you have the sound on your cell phone turned on once you submit an offer so they can call you back. Okay, I'm assuming you guys are adults. I'm not gonna tell you that. I've already said, you need to take your calls and answer the phone. If you're really busy and you cannot not talk, you say, hey, Jason, thanks so much. Hang on 1 second. Can I call you back in 5? I'm in a meeting. But I took the call and I told you why, or I text back, can I call you in a minute? Okay. So we're gonna notify the seller that they have an offer, make sure to include details about the buyer. This is what I do in the cover letter. Okay, so we kind of went over all that, and I did it on the phone. First of all, I'll do it on the phone, and then I reiterate things in the cover letter, and if my client writes a letter, I attach that. The goal of an offer is to come to a mutual agreement with both parties, and Keller Williams is win-win or no deal, and if it is totally like you're not gonna win if it's one-sided, typically, it's not gonna be good, and you're gonna have problems in the transaction. So finding out more about the seller doesn't mean they're not crazy. You're still gonna deal with crazy. That's typically when I call, a friend. I can't believe the seller did this, or I can't believe the buyer said that, or whatever, it's more people oriented. Thanking someone for presenting the offer is the first thing you want to do. And I've had so many courteous agents in this market that I can't tell you. I just want to, I wish my offer would win because they were so nice. They would reply back, received your offer, I'll be back in touch. We're planning to get with the seller on tonight, or it could be tomorrow. Please don't panic if I don't call you before 2 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
And that's communication.
Communication. Tell them about the buyer, which we already did. Present the offer. You've received an offer from the buyer's agent, reviewed this offer, make sure, call the client, let them know. Let your client know that you sent their offer over, okay? Because they're wondering, why haven't they heard? What did they say? What did they say? And they start texting me, have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything? No, but what is it? Oh, I better call. So you do want to stay in touch without bugging the listing agent too much if you're the buyer's agent. But the seller's agent is probably not going to call you with a blow-by-blow, right? They're going to let you know when the seller has presented, or if they have any questions. Keep the tone of the conversation as positive as possible. Never criticize the buyer, their agent, or their offer. And let me tell you something this is going back from a friend of mine, Terry Fry, years and years and years ago. She does a lot of high-end work. And she said that even when in the crazy offer time where they were crazy low, she requested strongly that every seller give a counter offer. So if your seller gets an offer and they just can't stand it and they just get mad, does that ever happen? Yeah, it happens a lot. So maybe not in today's market, but in the real market. So you encourage your seller to give a counter offer. Say, look, that they open the door. You might go back at full price, you might go back but don't just say something rude. Just give a counter offer. Listen, Mr. Seller, I'm trying to help you. This may or may not work out, but we don't know if we don't try. Sometimes they just won't do a counter offer. Okay, keep that in your mind. Just keep it professional, but ask them, hey, they opened the door, it's not what you're looking for, I understand that, but I think if we go back and we just say, well, maybe we'll give them $2,000 in closing costs instead of $15,000 in closing costs, right? Come up with a solution. That's our job, in my opinion, is keep everything neutral. And are there times when we get mad? What's your strategy if you get mad? What do you do? Who tells them? What do you do if you get mad?
I usually breathe through it.
Yeah, I give myself a breathing space. I go outside.
You can't breathe.
Well, I need to I run.
Yeah.
But there's a biblical saying, when you lose your temper, your wisdom goes right out the window.
That is true. Well, who else? What do y'all do if you get mad at somebody? Especially in real estate, I mean.
It depends on the circumstance. I can't tell you like that because it could be something where I just
Do something different. Who else?
I would just say, for me, it's like, okay, I need to take a break. I need to leave this alone for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. I just need to put it down and do something else altogether.
Yeah. Emotions run very high in our current situation, and it's high on everyone. Buyers are desperate for a house. The sellers are feeling like they're overwhelmed at the process of getting the house ready, get out of the house, review all the offers. They have some stress as well. the agents are not all behaving properly, and we need to remain neutral third parties. So even though you feel like a pincushion, you need to either take a breath, go have a cup of tea, go for a walk or a run. Don't react, because what comes out of your mouth could cost your client the house, one way or the other, or the relationship with your client or with the other agent. One thing I learned in the very beginning, I didn't learn it right on the day one. I would say I learned it 4 or 5 years into the business. I am going to work with you, Mrs. Seller, for this transaction, and I hope you'll buy and sell with me again in 4 or 5 years. I'm going to work with all of you every day of my career. So what is my reputation? Witch? Oh, that witch, she's calling me again. You know, your reputation matters, because I'm going to work with you for the rest of my career. So I want you to say, oh gosh, she's so great to co-op with. I'm not that great, but I want that image. I want to encourage people to have a quality image that you know, when you call me, you know that I'm a team that works hard to please people, and we try to do the right thing, and I've got a good office, you know, to support me. So I really think that's imperative in your career. Just think of that other person on the phone. They may be wacko, but you're not wacko. So you absorb it, thank them. If you want to send an email because somebody did something wrong, what are you going to do? Draft the email.
Right.
Don't put a to.
So you get it out.
Write it down. Go away. Come back. Reread it as if they sent that email to you.
That's a good one.
What's your reaction?
Very good.
That's a good one.
It's really good.
Very
I've
good.
done it. Don't put the to, because you might accidentally hit send.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that I fired somebody based on their dealings with another agent that I felt like were not appropriate, because they were so angry that they proceeded to tell the other agent how to do their business. Okay, that's not our jobs. Yes, they didn't do the right thing, but you can't get to their level. You see where I'm going with this? What is it? You lay down with dogs, you get fleas or something?
Yeah.
All right, don't do it. Keep yourself neutral. And then by that, you can be professional, because you calmed down before you reacted. And that's the biggest lesson I could teach somebody. I would teach them that. And I feel like a pincushion. I feel like I absorb everybody's problems, but that's what we do. We are problem solvers. That's our job. And if you don't like the job, then you know you're not going to be good at solving problems. You've got to solve their problem. Once you understand their problem, then you take some time and go, they're really anxious about the moving truck or whatever, you know, okay, let me call Beach Movers and see if they can do a better job. Let me make a call. Yes.
When you first started your business and when you first got into real estate, how long do you think it really took you in order for you to like become easier to just pinpoint those problems, or you know, just find easier
solutions? I
Yeah,
think I'm coming from a lot of experience. I don't think it's natural to start that way. I think in the beginning I was very reactive, and I was a little bit younger. I think you are reactive, which is why I'm saying this like 14 times. You are reactive. You feel your client's stress, you feel their pressure, you feel their angst, their anger, and they may spout off, but you should not get to their level. And it's just like, I will equate the same thing as I dress like this every day. I'm not going to go show property in shorts. I don't even own any shorts, but irrelevant to that, I am going to be at work when I'm at work. And when you are my client and you are upset about something, it's my job to help you not be upset. But in the background, I am mad as a hornet. And sometimes you have to bite your tongue till it bleeds, because you want to react with them or against them or whatever it is. And it's that's the hardest thing in this business, or in any business with high stress, high emotions. So I feel like it wasn't natural for me. And I learned a lot by being a witch. And then I thought, you know, this isn't really the best strategy because I'm going to be in business with these people. And, you know, we come back around that I'm doing a transaction with XYZ agent again. I'm like, I don't understand that agent, you know. Okay, fine, I'll be the big person and I'll absorb it. But it doesn't come naturally to me. So, good point.
I had a rental client, I had to kind of, the place that he was trying to move to, like, they weren't really receptive to his application and all this stuff, and so, you know, he'd call me frustrated and, you know, talk, and I'm like, you know, oh, it's okay, and I could tell that the company wasn't doing what they're supposed to do, so I'm on the phone with him trying to calm him down, like, you know, we can handle this, don't worry about it, it's gonna work out how it's supposed to work out. But on the other end, I'm going back and forth with the company, like, do not play.
Exactly.
I know that we're accurate. We have everything together. We're willing to even pay extra and da 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 da. Like, please review again. Like, going at them. But for him, it's like.
But for him, you say,
don't even.
Good
worry
job.
about
Good
it.
job.
Like,
I'd
you
say.
know,
One of the things I learned at Keller Williams, and I will tell you, and I try to remember to do this, is just go. You know, you're coming at me with, you know, the. I understand.
Yeah. That makes people.
You must be feeling really mad about that. You know, I think we can work this out. Not just don't gloss over it like, oh, that's okay and we'll fix it. You know, because you don't know if you can fix it at that point. Let me call a couple people and I'll get back to you. You know, because I don't have every magic thing up my sleeve, but I know, and I'll call up and I'll call my friend, can you believe this? And so I'm trying to tell you that we're all human, but part of what I think helps you survive is don't take it personally.
Right.
That's
You have to remove your, like, because emotions are temporary, but words are permanent.
Yeah.
You know, so like what
I'm still mad at that seller, didn't listen.
Right, you know,
but I didn't take it personally.
Right. At some point you're gonna, you know, you move on.
You do.
So, you know.
And you know, whatever is your release, you really need to practice it. Whether it is exercise, whether I mean, for me, during COVID, it was eating. I was like, well, you know, I'm pretty thin. I can eat that. Guess what? I'm not pretty thin anymore. So, you know, but that was a release. That was just like, okay, I can handle it. But I'll have that piece of cake while I'm thinking about it. So, let your buyers and sellers, this is on sellers, that talking about doing a counter offer. You can when you get multiple offers and you're representing the seller, you have choices that the seller can make. Everything is driven by what the seller tells you to do because you are their fiduciary. So you explain to your seller what the options are. Mr. Seller, you can accept one offer, you can counter the offer, or you can reject the offer altogether. Right? So which of those things do you prefer to do? And you might counsel them and say, I believe this offer with the closing date that you want, with this price, there's very little risk, we have pre-approval, or they're all cash, or blah, blah, blah. This one seems like a very good offer. Do you feel like you need to accept it or counter it? And they may say, well, you know, I really didn't want 20 days after closing. I really feel like I need 30. See if we can do 30. Okay, Mr. Seller, we'll do a counter. And you may want to pick up the phone and ask the buyer's agent, can they do 30 days instead of 20 days? And they'll say, oh God, yes, we want the house so bad, we'll do 30 days. Do they need 40? You know, so, yeah.
So you review the offers before bringing it to your seller
I review all of them first.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't hold up the offer to give to the seller. You gotta just read it and then pass it on to the seller and tell them if you know, depending on what your strategy is, but I will say, I'll call you at 4 o'clock and we'll review. But I like them to go ahead and read it, so I don't have to. That may be just
I'm like, especially if it's a bunch of them, it's like, do I go over it first and go back over all of them with them again? And
like, you got to read all of them. And if you have a bunch of offers, what are you going to do?
Celebrate.
Spreadsheet.
I was gonna ask you, is it pictorial? Is it good to see X's? Do they like to see this offer has this?
We did a spreadsheet, and we even put co-op agent on there.
Okay.
All right. You know, X. I can't think of a real estate company I don't like right now, but there are a bunch of them. You know, Zillow agent, for instance. All right, we know that that's a part-time person or not experienced or not trained, more or less. I mean, we can kind of guess that. So what's the chance of the risk of my seller on that contract going to closing? Because for a seller, it's all about the risk. Does everybody understand that part? The risk, you have the risk of due diligence. You have the risk of of the financing contingency, the risk of the appraisal contingency. So all of those things and the time of the offer, the time frames that they put in there. So if you're writing an offer now, it's, a lot of those things are shortened up. 5 days on due diligence. Yes.
That's an awesome point. So when you're talking to like someone who's like I'm gonna go do tomorrow for practice and hopefully eventually a listing, when I approach him, how do you sell what you were just talking about, the security? Like you're saying that like by doing this, I am making sure that I'm risk management. Like how do you sell risk management?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a really good sell point.
It is.
Because everything else they'd be like, well, I can list it on this website and I can market. Like I don't think marketing right now is for sale by owners is really what they care about because they can do their own marketing with all this internet stuff. But risk management, I feel like would be a good.
I think that honestly, we don't get paid to market. It's contract to close that our expertise and our hand holding and our help are what we get paid for.
That's what I want to sell that.
And I think that's what you just called it, risk management. I like that. I'm here to help mitigate the risk for your, when you do get offers. But first of all, have you had any offers, Mr. Seller? Okay, let's evaluate why you haven't had any offers. And then call in a stager, call in and say, listen, I'll pay $250 for the staging when you sign for me, and the first $250 of staging when you sign with me. That's part of my value proposition, personally.
Okay.
Sometimes don't need it, because the sellers already have a great house, but sometimes they do need it, and I'm overwhelmed, I don't want to do it. I mean.
And that is out of our pocket. I was asking that yesterday.
It doesn't have to be, no, the seller can pay it. I used to always have the seller pay it, but guess what I found out? My competition was paying for it. All right, never mind, I'll pay for it. So when the competition is putting downward pressure on what I normally did, I always had the seller pay for it. Say, listen, you need to invest this, and if they're not bought in, I always thought they wouldn't do it. So I would say I'll pay the first $250.
The first.
But Mr. Seller, you've got 14 rooms that need to be decluttered. You're probably going to need some help, and we want to expedite getting it done. So I have a professional for that. I have resources of professionals that do that, and I tell the stager what I want. I don't come in and tell you to move that flower over there and put that sofa over there and that chair over there, because that's beyond my pay grade. That is not my expertise. If it's your expertise, then go for it. But I'm not, and I just tell the stager, I want this emotion. When somebody walks in the door, I want them to feel like X, and the stagers know how to do that.
Average cost of staging for like a normal home, like that $250,000 to $600,000. I'm talking about these $1 million homes.
Usually $250,000, because they usually can do the staging, or they give a list of what the seller to do, but the seller needs to be there when the stager comes and needs to be coach that this is a brutal process.
Okay.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, Mr. Seller, how honest can I be with you?
Okay.
I'll be number 10. I want full honesty, full disclosure. Okay, this is not personal. This is a professional stager who's going to come in, and just because you love that picture of grandma over there, we need to probably move it because that's personality, and people are going to start trying to identify with you or not identify with you. So, you need to understand that it's not personal. They're trying to make your house look the best to the most number of buyers. That was good.
That is good. I think I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, good. Something I said. I love it. If the status of the offer changes and your listing goes under contract, put it in command and on FMLS. All right. Because I was going to go show a house, and it's just that whole thing. The agent didn't call me back. So I went ahead and scheduled the appointment, and they accepted my schedule. And then, a few hours before I'm supposed to go show, I get a notification from FMLS that says it's under contract. The girl never called me back.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not that way. I'm gonna call people back. I think they do have some scripts that y'all can do, but I think we probably covered all that. We've covered a lot of ground. How to represent a buyer and a seller through the offer process. Let's talk about this information has changed our perception of the offer process and note our ahas from the session. Okay, what have you learned about offers and counteroffers and buyers and sellers? Or do you have some more questions first? Yes.
I was gonna say I learned about the ACH.
Okay, that's good.
I didn't know about Gannett. I didn't know about the legal description, the close kw@gannett.com.
Yes,
Um,
great tools, really.
yeah, I think that might have been on my ahas. Oh, and then questions to ask the seller's agent when you like call
When you
them
call
up,
them.
how to like
That's huge.
fish for
Establish
information.
rapport, but you're fishing at the same time.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
And questions to ask your buyer,
Yeah, questions to
Yeah.
ask your buyer, yeah.
Ask your buyer what they're, what
will
they're,
pay for it.
right, I think that's right, Alan. Who else? Anybody got any ahas? Anything you learned?
Wants to pay.
Calling the seller, calling the seller's agent and asking what that seller needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
The proof of funds, like I just came out of school and that wasn't anything on my school. Like that I can remember them saying like,
Right.
we ran the proof
Forget all
of
that
funds,
stuff,
like with cash, I don't remember what.
And remember, try to get that before you make the
Yeah.
offer.
And that's like, it was like totally foreign.
Yeah.
That kind of. I
Try to
never
have
thought
that, because if you send it to me as a listing agent, if I'm a listing agent and you don't already have the proof of funds, I'm gonna go,
Right,
why would I have proof of funds? Why would I let my seller accept this offer
Right.
without validation
Yeah.
that they can close it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, who else?
I had back to my listing that was investment property. I got a number of offers on the property, but I also got a cash offer with cash and Bitcoin. They
Oh,
wanted to do.
Interesting, I knew that was coming.
And,
Yeah.
of course, I just threw that, I was from the beginning.
Well, the
but-
seller threw it out. You didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, remember,
So-
we're
How
always,
long ago was that?
Huh?
How long ago?
it's recent.
Last year?
Yeah. I heard there was a Bitcoin transaction that closed in Texas last year, but I don't know, it's coming.
But
Yeah.
the thing was, and I've shared with them, I have been working with some older sellers, and I can't even send them a contract on the
Right.
computer. I had to take them paper, so
Physical, yeah.
to try to get her to understand Bitcoin, what?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't
So,
work.
yeah,
You might have the right seller.
Yeah.
but,
That's more for millennials.
No.
So we're excited.
Elon Musk is about to start taking Bitcoin for Teslas, and once
Yeah,
he
I've
does
heard
that, it's gonna be more
yeah.
more acceptable. Once you start paying for cars, you're like, oh, that's real money. It's weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I have about 10 or 11 minutes. If you would like me to stay, you can ask me questions about anything, and if I don't know the answer, I will find out, or I'll tell you I don't know. But if you had any other thoughts that you wanted to just ask me, you're welcome to do that. And the only reason I thought I'd open that up is maybe you had some other type of questions that,
What other class are you teaching?
Thank you. I haven't been asked, and I
You're busy.
welcome.
Because you
Yeah.
do all luxury real estate.
Not
right?
all, no, I do
Okay.
everything.
You do
I do
everything.
everything. I have a state license to go everywhere.
Okay.
That's my story. No, my average price point is probably running around 500, but we do everything. We cover, my forte, my experience is now more luxury, simply because I don't enjoy the hand-holding of the first-time buyers. So if it's the kid of one of my friends, I love them because they're my kids. So I help them and I do it personally, but if it's not, I might go show one time and then pass them to a showing assistant, or, have them work. And that's not what I'm good at anymore. Telling all this list of details that you do with a first-time buyer, I don't do that well. So what I do well is you give me somebody that's very competitive and, demanding, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Oh, yes, I can. I will. And I will tell you, I think a defining moment in my real estate career was when I was newer, and you mentioned that back in the day, we sat in front of people and we presented the offers and we passed them across the table, and I had a referral to me of a listing, and he happened to be the president of Genuine Parts. Okay. I'm a young agent. My friend that I had sold them a house worked for Genuine Parts and said that this man was not happy with his agent that he bought his multi-million-dollar house from, and he was going to interview agents to sell his home. And so I got the interview, and I was like, wow, terror struck to my heart, to my core, terror. I was so afraid. I cannot tell you how afraid I was. So I go in there and I do my listing presentation in front of the husband and the wife, and and I'm just he asked me some question, which I wish I could remember the question. It was a hard question, like I didn't know the answer. And in my brain, I literally said, this is make or break. If you answer this question right, you got this listing. If you don't, you're screwed. And I answered the question and I got the listing. I don't know what question it was, but it was something beyond my capacity, right?
So you thought?
I thought, and I got the listing, and I was like, oh my God, you will have defining moments where you're terrorized and you just rise above it. It could be the anger that's out there right now, the stress that's out there, and all of a sudden you stay calm, like you breathe, and you go, you know what, I just won that thing because of what you did. And I think, so that created that I'm very competitive. So I love the competition. I don't always win, which is, like, oh, darn it, I didn't win that. But I like competition. So that's kind of where my thrill in real estate is to be competitive. And then and I'm competitive with myself, not with, like, I'm not trying to take out Robin Glass.
So you're a good negotiator.
My husband is Spanish, and he taught me a lot about negotiating when we traveled internationally. Back in the day, the price was just if you go to Spain in those times, I don't know if it is now because we haven't been for a few years, but if you go to Spain, it's like they put a price out, but you don't pay the price.
Yeah.
Right? Anything else?
How are you gonna manage your business in Florida? Are you having a home down there? Are you gonna be flying down there? Like, what is
home that's being built.
Okay, I was gonna ask you, what was the prompting of
It's not ready until probably December. And I'm gonna figure out how to make business happen there, but my intention is to have a back office here that handles what I do down there. And I may try to recruit a couple agents that are boots on the ground. And, or I have the option of joining a team. It's interesting that there are a lot of luxury agents in the area, but that's why it's Florida's very expensive. So there's a lot of people that belong to Luxury International. So if you guys get interested in luxury, Luxury International for Keller Williams is really big. And I'm also a member of a group here, which we have called Live Luxury, which is a boutique group of people. And you have to qualify to get in, but it's going to take only 2 sales. So once you're up and running, it's something you may want to look at. As we have a boutique group called Live Luxury. There are about 65 of us that are in that group. And so we network, have speakers, have meetings and, events and so forth that we get together and we help each other with luxury. And luxury in metropolitan Atlanta, it's 750 and above. Okay. And the outlying areas is like 650. So that helps. Mm-hmm. And you may not like luxury. Honestly, it's not all it's cracked up to be in some regards. Obviously, I feel like I do a lot of work. I almost feel like I do more work for the first-time buyer than I do for the luxury buyer, because the luxury buyers are coming in with expectations and they already know the drill. They know that you're just basically, can you keep up with them and can you find the right house and can you negotiate? So it's not so much like how to do a contract or do they have their loans? They're all qualified. So it's not a struggle on qualification like it is with a new buyer or first-time buyer. And I forget to double check my first-time buyers. Like what I told you to call the lender, I forget, I need to check on that. It might not be, because in my world of corporate reload, they're all qualified. It's just at what point.
I was wondering if I can get a hold of your assistant to ask information about the ACH.
Okay, well, Stacy probably has it. She was just coming in. Yeah,
Okay.
Stacy probably, hold on one second, but you can text Diane, and Diane Black, hold on. Her number? She is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Her number is 404-771-3543. But I actually think Stacy and Ellie are the better contacts because you actually have to get the number somehow. There's a number that makes it go to the MCA. And Tricia would know. Mm-hmm. Because it goes to the MCA office and there's a code that gets sent out to your buyer.
And that's very different from, so this is just strictly for earnest money.
Yes.
As opposed to the wire that they require for closing.
Correct. Down payment money goes straight to the closing attorney. And then when you have a closing, the earnest money, you're going to get a check from Ellie to take to closing if you do a pay at close. So everybody know what pay at close is?
That we're gonna get paid at
You
closing.
get paid at the closing table. You have to file the paperwork 72 hours in advance to Ellie and Tricia. And then they create your distribution authorization, which tells you, how much you get, how much Keller Williams gets, how much FMLS fees are, all of that. Take that to the closing attorney, and they cut the checks at the table, and you bring the ones for Keller Williams back, and you keep your own check. So that's a DA, that's a pay at close. And other than that, if you do pay at close, you have to take the earnest money if you have the buyer. You take the earnest money to closing, okay? Because it's part of the buyer's down payment. If you don't do pay at close, the earnest money is part of your commission.
If you don't do pay at close.
Right, so it's just like if you had $10,000 in commission, but you had $5,000 earnest money, our office is already holding the $5,000, so you're gonna be bringing a check from the attorney or for $5,000, okay? Because we already have 5, so then you get your 10. Make sense? So pay at close is where you get paid at the table, otherwise you bring everything in and they pay you the next day, which is good. Payday is good. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I hope it was worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
You learned something, and it's a lot to go on.
But it's amazing. Yes, thank you, and timely.
Good time, yeah, very
Yes.
timely.
We
Yeah,
want
big
to
time.
get into business and start writing offers. This is a big fun thing, is writing offers.
I like that you kept the stuff current, like if right now we
Yes.
don't need to practice arguing over, you have to fix the molding, the crown molding, then if that's not something that's relevant right now, that's what I meant. Thanks for
Basic
keeping it
philosophy
relevant.
is, to your point, it's get the deal, win the deal,
Yeah.
and then have due diligence. I do not like right to inspect, because then the buyer can't terminate unless they don't do the inspection reports. So you're hearing a lot of people saying they're doing right to inspect instead of due diligence as a winning tool. It's just a tool in your kit to help your buyer win a deal, but it's not protecting the buyer, because the buyer cannot terminate for any reason. They can only terminate if the seller doesn't agree to do the repairs that the buyer requested.
So if it's as is, like
As is right to inspect, you want due diligence. Right to inspect, they inspect, but then they know. So then if you've won the deal, you at least get the opportunity to have it inspected and then ask for repairs. Okay?
Cool.
So due diligence I think is the best. And you can get an inspector out there in 2 to 3 days. So I've been doing 5 business days on my offers, 5 business days for due diligence to try to, and I also do a stipulation saying if any contract deadline falls on a federal holiday, then the deadline is extended automatically to 7 p.m. the next business day. So like you got 4th of July coming up and you had 3 days in there and that falls on 4th of July, I mean, you can't get your inspector in.
So if you explain that as is again one more time.
Right to inspect, and a lot of listings are now saying as is.
Yes.
So you still want to have right to inspect, but the seller's saying they won't do any repairs.
Okay.
But guess what? If you inspect and then there's mold or there's radon, then you're going to go and you're going to tell that seller, you need to fix this radon, you need to fix this mold, whatever. And if they don't do it, you terminate.
Right, so if it does say as is, you could right to inspect.
Yes.
If it's an as is.
It is right to inspect.
Okay.
Well, you have due diligence, you still have right to. That's why you don't want to do, well, in that case, you wouldn't do inspection. But you would be due diligence. If it's
I'm
an
sorry.
as is.
Okay, that's.
If it's an as is, you can't do right to request repairs. Sorry, that stipulation where you take away due diligence and it becomes right to request repairs. That's an old fashioned contract before we ever had due diligence. So that is where we used to, the world I grew up in was you had an inspection and then you requested repairs, and if the seller didn't do the repairs, the buyer had the right to terminate. So
but
people
is that really nothing.
As is, you wouldn't be using that stipulation because they're not going to do anything. But if you have due diligence and some major thing comes up, remember they have to disclose it after you've had it inspected.
Right.
So the point you're saying to the listing agent is you got to disclose it, house has radon. So you're going to fix it for me, or you're going to fix it for somebody else, or disclose it. So,
okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat that because I need to get it. So if it's as is, we put an amendment, a stipulation?
No, just due diligence.
Just due diligence.
Yeah, you always have the right to inspect. It's just due diligence. You inspect during due diligence.
Okay.
So don't miss your due diligence deadlines.
But nowadays, due diligence are going short for like 1 day or 2 days, right?
I do 5 business. That's what I've been doing. And I haven't had total pushback on it, but yes, people are shortening it. You're gonna have liability, guys, in the long run if we don't protect our buyers and really the sellers to some degree. If they are canceling all of this, I feel like there's gonna be some lawsuits that are gonna come up that the buyers or the sellers didn't have full disclosure, didn't know what they bought because we counseled them to do no due diligence. So I'm saying keep the due diligence in. If you can only do 3 days, call your inspector before you, as you're typing up the offer, say, hey, can you inspect on Monday? This is Sunday night, can you inspect tomorrow? So that you can get it done within, the 3 days, whatever. But 1 day is useless,
Yeah.
or if you represent the buyer. But the people are waiving due diligence. They are, I have not done that yet. I'm not gonna do it. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. I appreciate you. Right, let us know if we can help.
Thank you.
Everybody needs help, including me. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
No, it's not me.
Well, really, really.
No, it's not.
Well, it's just because it's like, we're not even putting in offers on the home, Divvy.
Talk to Yahima.
She did that.
She's got, so Divvy and,
Yeah, I can only.
the one she was saying, Ribbon, are very much similar.
Okay.
It's, and she's had a free,
Give
Yahima,
me a phone book and
did you
start
do,
calling.
you did Ribbon, but did you have a Divvy?
No.
But I have two Divvy clients, I don't know what steps to take next, like.
Are you representing the buyer?
Huh?
I think
Are
you
you
got a
representing?
resource here.
I suggest to call Ruby agent, the agent at that office, and ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
Like,
But
what do
it's
you
not the
work?
same process, it's just
Huh?
regular, it's not the same process as having like a regular.
It is not, just ask them, because it's new, it's so new, and it's so confusing.
Okay.
So just call them and ask them a lot of questions. What do you do? How does it work? What do you require? What are your stipulations? Ask them for the little one. Everything. Ask them, send me all the documents that you require to sign and read them and get
Yogurt?
familiar with the process. Because what happened in my case is that the buyer said he was not familiar with it.
Have you?
And after we signed the contract, people was asking for things that would completely change the document. So at that point, if the buyer will not have the cash, what would happen is the buyer would be losing $7,000. That would be horrible.
Oh, yeah, Maria.
So just make sure you understand all the requirements. It is good what DB
Oh,
does.
wow. For my house.
DB,
And then.
as far as I know, DB buys the property.
I need a.
But the buyer has to put 1% down payment, something like that. And then when DB buys the property, DB is the owner of the property. And DB leases back the property to the buyer. And part of that rent income is going to a savings account.
But did you try
And
the,
this money is going to accumulate, so this buyer is ready. The buyer buys the property from
what we
the
call
buyer,
newsletters now?
which is cement.
So it's
But
like,
I'm like,
see what
at
the
that
block looks
point, go, but by the
I've
time we
never
close
been on a
the
block.
transaction, I already did my commission.
But it's good, no,
Now, she says it's a newsletter,
this is
right?
good, because DB
I
comes
haven't
from
had a
cash.
chance to attack it.
But maybe they require certain inspections,
I've
so
never
they
done one
require
either.
that the
I know
house
there are
has
people who
these
block.
features, ask them for their
There's a big
requirements,
block, I'm
And
not
Divvy
sure
will
what
have
they did.
requirements for the home.
most
I
likely.
guess I got.
So just make sure you know
Unless they get paid a lot.
everything
You
about
do
the
get
all
money.
the
Some people
forms
do,
that
that's
they
what I
use.
understand, yes.
What are
Yeah,
their
I know the block is.
requirements? What are
I'm
their
70 years
deadlines?
old,
Some
I
of
know.
them require, oh, we
Never
need
told
to
us where,
have
no.
for sure,
Jason knows it.
contingency days of maybe
Show me a block.
14 days, 21 contingency days. just make sure you know all
I
these.
got things in this new computer that aren't translating yet, and I don't even know how to get into it. So let me just try to get to my other email, which is not.
You are the agent, but in this case, I think it will be DV and the buyer, so it will be two buyers. But just ask the agent, I will sit with them. I will sit with them.
Cause I wanna start the process, I wanna get moving, I just.
No, see, even don't know because this is so new that no one's
They haven't really started using a
Yes. So just go to their office, be like, I'm not even over the phone. I need to sit with you. At least I need that because I'm a visual. I need to see the paper. And just sit with them, be like, give me all the documents. I tell them, I need to sit with you to understand the process. I have 2 buyers. I need to know what I'm doing because you have to protect your buyers' money. You know? So just sit with them and go over like, what are your contingency days? What are your requirements? What are you going to require if you're going to buy the house?
Okay. When you did your ribbon, did they have a different contract or you use it's
No,
purchase
I
and
use
sale?
everything.
You use that?
Ribbon was backing up though. They were not literally buying the house. In this case, TV buys the house. But Ribbon was just backing up the office. So if the house is not appraised, Ribbon will put the difference, and how they make money is that they get 1%. But those deals can make you win because those are cash.
Right,
That's
that's what
what
I'm
I'm
thinking, I'm like, it's a good situation, especially for me
No,
as
it
an
is
agent.
amazing.
I'm gonna
You
show you
have
what
to
they
cash
sent
over.
me.
It means that you could have to close within the next 3 months. Just make
I've
sure
never even opened
you
it.
sit down with the agent and I will sit with 2 different ones because some people don't know.
Right, don't always know what you're talking about.
So just sit with them and get like an expert, and just maybe you're the expert and that, oh, it's a TV, and everyone comes to you. Sure.
I would like that.
Girl, that's nice.
So you sit out there like this.
Just don't, my suggestion, just don't, whatever the buyer qualifies for, I don't know how much is in Ribbon.
That is what sends out to you. So
Whatever the buyer
different subject.
qualifies
Go
for,
ahead and look at that, I'm gonna go to the ladies' room. That's what, is sent.
And who sells your housekeeper?
Yes.
And where, are they charging?
That the house has to be.
I think they do it for free if there's something, if you do something, which I think put contacts in there or something like that, then they'll do it for you for free.
She said the asking price is the starting price. Yeah. So if your buyer qualifies for 350, you think they're gonna win $350? So you get a 320 house and offer 350. Who would you got?
My buyers, they keep, like, I'm like, oh, how much did you get people? They're like, oh, well, I will only want to
Thank you.
I'm like, okay, what's the number? Like, they don't ever say that, it's just, oh, my mortgage, I would pay, $1,500. So I'm like, okay, well, that puts you in the $200,000 range, but I'm like, I need specific.
No, Keller Williams app.
That's Dolores, just said the same thing, and I just need to have it, I don't know how to do it, but Ellie is in the conference room, she's the queen. So,
I saw you.
get her.